Yeah. We're at 171 of our through the New Testament in 1 year. And you remember yesterday they were Peter and John had come back from talking to the courts and telling them never to talk about Jesus again, and they're like, "Yeah, right, not going to happen." All right. And now everybody's living together. There's over 5,000 of them living in a community, selling all they have and giving as everybody would need it. Okay. Except for Ananias and Sapphira. Okay. Let's read about them. But it starts with but, okay? But. You don't start a thing with but. Let's go back to that last sentence. Now Joseph, a Levite of Simon birth, who was called Barnabas by the apostles, which translated means son of encouragement, and who owned a tract of land, sold it, and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. Okay. Joseph. So. But a man named Ananias and his wife, with his wife Sapphira, sold a piece of property and kept back some of the price for himself, with his wife's full knowledge, or collusion, it says there, right? I'll show you. Collusion, right? And bringing a portion of it, he laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and keep back some of the price of the land? While it remained unsold, did it not remain your own? And after it was sold, was it not under your control? Why is it that you have conceived this deed in your heart? You have not lied to men, but to God, right? Okay. This is everything I sold the land for. I'm giving it to you, okay? He could have kept some of it for himself, okay? Just don't lie to God about it, okay? I'm giving you 75% of it, okay? And they would have been glad to get that, but not to lie to God, okay? And as he heard these words, Ananias fell down and breathed his last. And a great fear came over all who heard of it. The young men got up and covered him up, and after carrying him out, they buried him. Now there elapsed an interval of about 3 hours, and his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. And Peter responded to her, Tell me whether you sold the land for such and such a price. And she said, Yes, that was the price. And Peter said it to her, Why is it that you have agreed together to put the Spirit of the Lord to the test? Behold, the feet of those who have buried your husband are at the door, and they will carry you out as well. And immediately she fell at his feet and breathed her last. And the young men came in and found her dead, and carried her out and buried her beside her husband. And a great fear came over the whole church and over all who heard these things, right? Don't lie to God, okay? At the hands of the apostles, many signs and wonders were taking place among the people. And they were all with one accord in Solomon's portico, but none of the rest dared to associate with them. However, the people held them in high esteem. All the more believers in the Lord, multitudes of men and women were constantly added to their number, to such an extent they even carried the sick out into the streets and laid them on cots and pallets, so that when Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on any one of them. Also, the people from the cities in the vicinity of Jerusalem were coming together, bringing people who were sick or afflicted with unclean spirits, and they were all being healed, right? All of them. Imprisonment and release. But the high priest rose up along with all his associates. That is the sect of the Sadducees. Okay? They don't believe in the resurrection. Okay. And they were filled with jealousy. Jealousy. They laid hands on the apostles and put them in a public jail. But during the night, an angel of the Lord opened the gates of the prison, and taking them out, he said, Go, stand and speak to the people in the temple, the whole message of this life. Upon hearing this, they entered into the temple about daybreak and began to teach. Now when the high priest and his associates came, they called the council together, even all the senate of the sons of Israel, and sent orders to the prison house for them to be brought. All right, and it's going to end there, okay? All right, I'm thinking that they're still in jail. Bring them out so we can do stuff, right? There you go. Right. But the officers who came did not find them in the prison, and they returned and reported back, saying, We found the prison house locked quite securely and the guards standing at the doors. But when we had opened up, we found no one inside. Now when the captain of the temple guard and the chief priests heard these words, they were greatly perplexed about them as to what would come of this. But someone came and reported to them, The men whom you put in prison are standing in the temple and teaching the people. Then the captain went along with the officers and proceeded to bring them back without violence, for they were afraid of the people, that they might be stoned, right? The Sadducees are afraid of being stoned by their own people. And they got Rome involved, okay? So that's tomorrow. But There you go. Ananias and Sapphira learned that it's very bad to lie to the Holy Spirit and to God. Remember that. Okay. Remember that. Okay, that's marked as complete. So there you go. Acts will continue. Right? So there you have it. It's day 171. These are nice little 5-minute videos or so, and we'll get through the whole New Testament this year. Catch up on any you may have missed, right? This is a very moving story, right? They should make a movie about this, and they have. I think they made the Acts of the Apostles movie, but the book's always better, isn't it? Movie's good, the book's better. So there you go. Give us a like if you think about it, and tomorrow we'll continue. See you then.